What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the moves that the Maple Leafs made yesterday and as a whole in free agency, what the new identity of the team could possibly be, and the main part of this video, what's next? What do they do next? Because the way that the Leafs team is structured right now and the way that the cap situation is, the Leafs have moves to make and they have to do something pretty soon. So if you guys are new here, before we get any further, make sure to like this video and subscribe, join the squad. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Last night and between the last couple days, we've gotten a couple hundred new subscribers. So if you are new here and you enjoy the videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the old videos. Also, this whole summer, I'm going to be making a ton of content because the Leafs are far from done when it comes to contracts for this year and next season, which is the first thing I wanted to touch on because there's a lot of people confused about the Nylander contract and the Matthews contract. Now, Matthews and Nylander have deals for this upcoming season. Like the season that we're about to play, Nylander and Matthews already have a contract. They do not need a contract for this upcoming season. So the Bertuzzi deal, the Domi deal, and anything that they've done for the cap this year has nothing to do with next year, right? So Domi and Bertuzzi are signed to a one-year deal. The Leafs are expecting the cap to go up next year, so maybe they hold on to one or both of them considering trade stuff or if they want to leave, whatever. But Nylander and Matthews, if they sign a new deal, an extension, it won't take effect on the cap until next season. Not the season we're about to play, but the season after. There's a lot of confusion about that on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, whatever social media there is. People are freaking out about how the hell do you sign these guys? Well, you don't, because they already have contracts. But if you want to extend them beyond the season, which is what the Leafs are trying to do, they can do that. They can do that now. So don't worry about a Nylander contract. Don't worry about a Matthews contract. Those guys are going to sign. Maybe only one of them are going to sign, potentially Nylander being traded. I don't know. We're going to talk about that with all the cap situation stuff. But it has absolutely nothing to do with what they've done so far right now because it was one-year deals. Those guys are not statistically and literally not on the cap next season. So what I wanted to mention was the fact that the Leafs are still limited in cap space. And right now, they are over the salary cap. But I want to show you guys something. So even with Jake Muzzin expected to go on LTIR, which he definitely is because his career is over, Treliving has extended beyond the cap ceiling by approximately $2.4 million to complete the deal. All teams are permitted to exceed the cap by 10% during the offseason. So to get under the cap and re-sign RFA goalie Ilya Samsonov, Treliving can still make trades and or complete a midsummer buyout, which would probably be Matt Murray. Now, this is what I wanted to tell you guys. So before the season starts, which we're still a few months away, the Leafs can exceed the cap by 10%. So the Leafs are fine. They don't really have to do anything right now, but we know that they're going to because they need to get Samsonov done, and they're going to have to find something to do with Matt Murray. The problem is that Matt Murray is going to cost the team $8 million in actual cash, not just a cap hit. He actually costs a lot of money. So the Leafs are going to have to get creative there. But Matt Murray being bought out is something that we expect, or traded potentially. But we don't expect Matt Murray to be on this team unless he's going on LTIR, which is a possibility because the guy is always injured. I don't know if he's hurt right now. There hasn't been a lot of talk about him. People are like, oh, well, he sat on the bench for the Maple Leafs. Yeah, he sat on the bench. There was probably no way that guy was going to see any action. And that's why Joseph Woll was the guy that was playing games going forward, and he was actually the better option. He's probably going to be the full-time backup for the Maple Leafs this year. But the Leafs don't have to trade William Nylander in order to get under the cap. And I know a lot of people are just like, boom, that's where we're going. The Leafs actually could make as little as 2 moves to get themselves under the cap, which, again, is something that I don't think a lot of people are realizing. But before we get any further, I want to talk about Ilya Samsonov. Now, a lot of people are starting to look towards, other contracts that were signed like Adin Hill and whatever, but he just won the Stanley Cup and he, played a lot more games. But The Maple Leafs don't necessarily need to give a big contract to Ilya Samsonov. And in fact, they might be in the same boat as they are with a lot of people in giving them short-term deals. But if you look at Samsonov's career, he hasn't truly played a ton of games until the last couple seasons. And the season before with Washington, his numbers weren't very good. In the playoffs, they were pretty decent. And then in the playoffs with the Maple Leafs, he didn't even end up finishing the playoffs because he got hurt. And his numbers also weren't very good. He was good in the regular season. Actually, he was fantastic in my eyes in the regular season. But those playoff numbers weren't very good. And he also, like I said, didn't even complete the playoffs. Joseph Woll ended up finishing the series against the Florida Panthers. So the Maple Leafs don't have to hand this guy a bunch of money. And to be honest with you, at first I thought he could get close to $4 million. But looking at it now, if Samsonov was smart and he was betting on himself, he would probably take a very short-term deal, much like Bertuzzi and Domi, and sign for like 3.5. But if the Leafs are going to give him a bit of term, then I think the number could be $3 million to get Samsonov done. Just by looking at comparables, it could be a little bit more, but I think $3 million would probably be fair. Now, I've put up a little bit of a mock team here, and as you can see, they have positive cap space. Now, this is a rough estimate, and there could be other moves made here. As you can see, there's also an extra forward, which again would allow the Leafs to, trade somebody like a Sam Lafferty, and then, no pun intended, but you're laughing because you have enough cap space. So what I did was I sent down Maxime Lajoie and I sent down Connor Timmins. You can bury those contracts. I believe you can bury most of it. I have to take another look at the Lajoie deal, but I believe that you can bury Timmins' full contract. Regardless, it allows you to, get rid of Matt Murray, which I've put him on LTIR, but, this could mean a trade or anything else. So that would get rid of his cap hit. And then you sign Ilya Samsonov to $3 million, right? So you can fit this team in here. Now, that leaves the door open for you to trade Sam Lafferty. That leaves the door open for you to trade somebody like Calle Yarncrook. It leaves the door open to trade somebody like Nick Robertson. Again, I think a lot of people were upset with me when I said the David Kampf contract might have, hemmed the Leafs a little bit. I like Kampf, and again, I'll say it again, I really do like him. But that $2.4 million is a lot of money. And I think that Pontus Holmberg is a good option on that fourth line, especially now if you have Max Domi. If you decide to play Max Domi at center, I wouldn't be against a nice Domi Lafferty line just to try it out, unless you go with Yarncrook and you put Nyes in the top six. Again, this is just rough. I'm not saying this is what the team will look like. And again, there's also options here on the blue line. If the Leafs aren't sold on Jake McCabe, you can make a deal for a cheaper defenseman. I'm not too sure. I'd rather keep McCabe. I think that he's a solid defensive guy. But there's definitely a lot of question marks when it comes to this team and a lot of different moves that you can make. There's interchangeable pieces. Maybe they do end up trading a guy like Calle Yarncrook. I wouldn't. I think he fit in pretty well last year. But again, if you trade Sam Lafferty, for the sake of the video, let's just put him on LTIR because it'll remove his cap hit. I'm not really sure why it didn't do that. But anyways, I think the site is lagging a little bit here. But regardless, the Leafs would shed that money as well if they put him on LTIR and they would trade him or whatever. I'm not saying put him on LTIR. I'm using LTIR here to show the cap space to go away. But you could also just add him to a trade. And if you actually just traded him for nothing, like let's just say we trade with the Ducks, right? Oh, that's why. Yeah, okay. So apparently my thing here is not loading properly. Anyways, regardless, I'm just showing you guys that what could happen and what you could do. I mean, obviously all you got to do is add $1 million to this cap space and it would get rid of that. But the Leafs have a lot of question marks. And sure, they could fit the team if they did something like this. And then towards the deadline, you know how they accrue cap space towards the deadline, you can whatever. They can make another trade towards the deadline. They can figure that out with salary retention and whatnot. That's for way down the line. But this Leafs team is a lot more physical. They have a lot more bite. They have a lot more everything, in my opinion. The goal scoring potential from Tyler Bertuzzi in the top six, the aggression and the scoring ability from Max Domi on the third line, potentially in the top six. I don't know what they're going to do there. Matthew Knies playing a full season. People seem to forget about that. Klingberg potentially having a really good offensive season. He's terrible defensively, but that guy adds a lot of points from your back end, just pure offense. A full season of Samsonov and Woll, that's a big question mark. We're not just going to sit here and act like it's going to work. So what's next for the Maple Leafs is a lot of really tough decisions. And I know a lot of people just point to the Nylander thing and be like, well, cool, let's just trade Nylander and you get all the cap space in the world. But you're not exactly doing better in the offensive category. If you get guys like Bertuzzi and you get Domi, that doesn't replace Nylander. That just replaces Kerfoot and Bunting, right? So you need to make sure that you're getting that same offensive output, but you probably don't get that in a William Nylander trade unless you're getting back a really good forward and a solid defenseman back, which that's a tough trade in itself to make because, again, the cap hits are going to be high regardless. But this is a very tricky offseason for the Maple Leafs. Brad Treliving is going to have one hell of a next few weeks, in my opinion. He's got to do something here to free up some stuff. But we're going to keep talking about it. There's going to be 50 million videos on this channel about what the Leafs can do going forward because there's so many options. But again, leave your comments down below. Sound off. Tell me what you guys think about what the Leafs have done. Let me know what videos I should make going forward. There's going to be a lot. I've been posting a ton recently, and it's a lot of fun. I love posting so much content because I get a chance to talk with you guys, chat up about what's going on. And hopefully that means that a lot of you guys will stick around. So like, subscribe, join the squad. What are the Leafs going to do next? Hopefully you guys agree with some of the things I said, and if not, let me know down below in the comments. I love and appreciate you guys as always, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.